everybody. Welcome to Search the Scriptures. We are on study number 8 in the fantastic book of Job. And today we are going to cover 3 chapters, chapter 15, 16, and 17 of the book of Job, and going to attempt to answer a couple different sets of questions. First one being this: in chapter 15, how does that compare in its tone and approach with Eliphaz's first speech in chapters 4 and 5, and note the emphasis of human depravity, and how should he have dealt with a younger man who would not agree with him, and why was he so sure that he was right, and to whose shortcomings was he blind? And from chapter 16 and 17, even in the depths, Job finds some particles of hope. What form do these take? Well, if you have a Bible, get that out, open it up to Job chapter number 15. We'll begin there and look at chapter 15, 16, and 17 together.
Job 15. Then Eliphaz the Temanite replied, "Would a wise man answer with empty notions, or fill his belly with the hot east wind? Would he argue with useless words, with speeches that have no value? But you even undermine piety and hinder devotion to God. Your sin prompts your mouth. You adopt the tongue of the crafty. Your own mouth condemns you, not mine. Your own lips testify against you. Are you the first man ever born? Were you brought forth before the hills? Do you listen in on God's counsel? Do you limit wisdom to yourself? What do you know that we do not know? What insights do you have that we do not have? The gray-haired and the aged are on our side, men even older than your father. Are God's consolations not enough for you, words spoken gently to you? Why has your heart carried you away, and why do your eyes flash, so that you vent your rage against God and pour out such words from your mouth? What is man that he could be pure, or one born of a woman that he could be righteous? If God places no trust in his holy ones, if even the heavens are not pure in his eyes, how much less man who is vile and corrupt, who drinks up evil like water? Listen to me, and I will explain to you. Let me tell you what I have seen, what wise men have declared, hiding nothing received from their fathers, to whom alone the land was given, when no alien passed among them. All his days the wicked man suffers torment, the ruthless through all the years stored up for him. Terrifying sounds fill his ears. When all seems well, marauders attack him. He despairs of escaping the darkness. He is marked for the sword. He wanders about, food for vultures. He knows the day of darkness is at hand. Distress and anguish fill him with terror. They overwhelm him like a king poised to attack, because he shakes his fist at God and vaunts himself against the Almighty, defiantly charging against him with a thick, strong shield. Though his face is covered with fat, and his waist bulges with flesh, he will inhabit ruined towns, and houses where no one lives, houses crumbling to rubble. He will no longer be rich, and his wealth will not endure, nor will his possessions spread over the land. He will not escape the darkness. A flame will wither his shoots, and the breath of God's mouth will carry him away. Let him not deceive himself by trusting what is worthless, for he will get nothing in return. Before his time, he will be paid in full, and his branches will not flourish. He will be like a vine stripped of its unripe grapes, like an olive tree shedding its blossoms. For the company of the godless will be barren, and fire will consume the tents of those who love bribes. They conceive trouble and give birth to evil. Their womb fashions deceit. Job 16. Then Job replied, "I have heard many things like these. Miserable comforters are you all. Will your long-winded speeches never end? What ails you that you keep on arguing? I also could speak like you if you were in my place. I could make fine speeches against you, and shake my head at you. But my mouth would encourage you. Comfort from my lips would bring you relief. Yet if I speak, my pain is not relieved, and if I refrain, it does not go away. Surely, O God, you have worn me out. You have devastated my entire household. You have bound me, and it has become a witness. My gauntness rises up and testifies against me. God assails me, and tears me in his anger, and gnashes his teeth at me. My opponent fastens on me his piercing eyes. Men open their mouths to jeer at me. They strike my cheek in scorn, and unite together against me. God has turned me over to evil men, and thrown me into the clutches of the wicked. All was well with me, but he shattered me. He seized me by the neck and crushed me. He has made me his target. His archers surround me. Without pity he pierces my kidneys and spills my gall on the ground. Again and again he bursts upon me. He rushes at me like a warrior. I have sewed sackcloth over my skin and buried my brow in the dust. My face is red with weeping. Deep shadows ring my eyes. Yet my hands have been free of violence, and my prayer is pure. O earth, do not cover my blood. May my cry never be laid to rest. Even now my witness is in heaven, my advocate is on high. My intercessor is my friend, as my eyes pour out tears to God. On behalf of a man, he pleads with God, as a man pleads for his friend. Only a few years will pass before I go on the journey of no return. Job 17. My spirit is broken. My days are cut short. The grave awaits me. Surely mockers surround me. My eyes must dwell on their hostility. Give me, O God, the pledge you demand. Who else will put up security for me? You have closed their minds to understanding. Therefore you will not let them triumph. If a man denounces his friends for reward, the eyes of his children will fail. God has made me a byword to everyone, a man on whose face people spit. My eyes have grown dim with grief. My whole frame is but a shadow. Upright men are appalled at this. The innocent are aroused against the ungodly. Nevertheless, the righteous will hold to their ways, and those with clean hands will grow stronger. But come on, all of you, try again. I will not find a wise man among you. My days have passed. My plans are shattered, and so are the desires of my heart. These men turn night into day. In the face of darkness they say, light is near. If the only home I hope for is the grave, if I spread out my bed in darkness, if I say to corruption, you are my father, and to the worm, my mother or my sister, where then is my hope? Who can see any hope for me? Will it go down to the gates of death? Will we descend together into the dust?
Now let's look at the questions together for study number 8. From chapter 15, how does that tone and approach of Eliphaz different from chapters 4 and 5? Note the emphasis on human depravity, and how should he have dealt with a younger man who would not agree with him, and why was he so sure that he was right, and to whose shortcomings was he blind? Well, Eliphaz is much more critical of Job at this point. He pounces on Job's arguments and focuses on the depravity of all of mankind. And he appeals to the elders of his day, saying that they would all agree with him, and he looked to the wisdom of those in the past to guide his arguments. Well, there most certainly is something to be said for the wisdom of those that have gone before us. We cannot forget, however, that it was those that went before us that have brought us to where we are now. So the methods and the approaches of the past are not always necessarily what we need to return to. Sometimes they are something that we need to distance ourselves from rather than to return to. It takes true wisdom, really, to be able to navigate through those things of the past that have value and those things of the past that need to be discarded. It's not always wise to argue to a new generation that they need to return to the past. Sometimes they do, But we really just need to leave the past out of it probably and just be wise in our arguing. From verses chapter 16 and 17, even in the depths of the despair that Job has, he finds some particles of hope. What form does this take? Well, in Job 16, 19 through 21, there's some interesting things being said. Job says that he has a friend and an intercessor in heaven. This intercessor is seen as pleading on Job's behalf. It seems to be Job's vision of what Christ does for the Christian. You may be going through a terrible time in your life right now. It may seem like everything is just falling apart all around you. Job had a hope. Our hope is even more sure than the hope of Job because he only looked at it and saw it in a distance. But face to face, Christ has come and dwelt among mankind. And know with a certainty today, no matter how bad it is, no matter what you're going through, Jesus Christ is at the right hand of the Father, making intercession on your behalf. It will be okay. I hope this study in Job has been a blessing to you. God bless. Have a fantastic rest of your day.